This is the Greg Bedard Patriots Podcast with Nick Cattles.
He's Greg, I'm Nick. We're brought to you by Athletic Greens, your one-stop shopping for 75 high-quality vitamins to help you start your day right. Before we get into Damar Hamlin and, of course, the Bills-Patriots game coming up this weekend, Greg, I see that lovely hoodie that you're wearing today. Can we actually finally give Chaim Bloom and the Red Sox at least some credit that we don't have to watch Rafael Devers be traded away or walk away like we've seen John Lester, Mookie Betts, and Xander Bogaerts?
I mean, 1 out of 4 isn't bad, right? Can you play in the majors batting 1 for 4? Yeah, as I was telling you before we came on, I said I think this is the extent of my Red Sox optimism, and it's January. So I figured I'd get the hoodie in now. Plus, I'm a little cold. Since I lost the weight, I'm freaking cold all the time. Like now I really hate New England. But yeah, I mean, look, the pessimist, the cynic in me wonders, how much John Henry getting booed at the Winter Classic, which I was at, I covered for BSJ, had something to do with it. The timing is definitely interesting. I'm all for it. If that caused John Henry to go back and be like, oh, that's it. We need to sign Devers. Just get it done. Like after what happened at the Winter Classic, I'm all for that. But at least it's nice. There's some good news for the Red Sox for once this offseason. I really, Nick, I'm sure you felt the same way. I was just, if they didn't get this done before spring training, I was not looking forward to a whole nother season of, are they going to trade him? When are they going to trade him? Is he going to leave in free agency like Xander did? Like all that stuff. Like at least now they can get on with, all right, let's figure out shortstop. Let's, figure out some things and augment this team more than 56-year-old Corey Kluber. And let's see if they can actually field a competitive baseball team this year.
I will say this was as close as I've ever been to just literally writing off the Red Sox as somebody who has grown up and spent, 40 years watching this team and following this team and rooting for this team. And of course, the media part of me criticizing the team when need be and the fan part of me criticizing when need be. I was close. Honestly, if they did not get this Devers deal done and he ended up leaving via trade or walking like Xander, I don't know if I could have survived that one. And I'm glad they actually, got this deal done. Devers is outstanding. And hopefully this is the beginning of kind of resetting what the Red Sox are, which is a major market team that makes tons of money, that should be spending money instead of trying to put Band-Aids on wounds, on big, deep, non-flesh wounds. So hopefully that is the beginning of the process. So yes, I can be happy for a couple of days to say that Devers is going to be a Red Sox for the next decade. That feels good to say. All right, let's jump to Damar Hamlin, because this feels good too, Greg. We've got some positive news this morning. So he is reportedly neurologically intact, and I was watching a video from ESPN, and the reporter's name escapes me, so I apologize. But he was talking about how, what neurologically intact means. It means that you are, you're showing movement with purpose, so to speak, and you are able to respond to certain commands. And so, Damar Hamlin's eyes are open. He is squeezing the hands of his loved ones, and he is, responding to the commands from doctors. And it sounds like this is pretty much as good as you could hope for given the circumstances. Just kind of your quick thoughts about the good news we heard this morning about Damar Hamlin.
Yeah, I just think it's amazing. I mean, a testament to the trainers that were on site, the emergency personnel, the action plan that the NFL had, and I was reading something about, because of what happened to the professional soccer player who went into cardiac arrest, I think it was last year.
Yeah. Yep.
They changed some of their protocols and how they do things. And Albert Breer and a couple other reporters have pointed out Bills as assistant athletic trainer Denny Kellington as the man who administered CPR so quickly to Damar Hamlin. And, to go from, look, he was clinically dead, at least for some period of time on the field on Monday night. And, by Thursday to be making the kind of progress that we're hearing is just amazing. And, I'm just thankful for the people that have been involved and it's sort of the best case scenario for the NFL and the Bills that it seems like, fingers crossed, that, he's increasingly out of the woods and, and I think that will lead to a sense of normalcy as much as possible for everyone going forward, especially the Buffalo Bills, who are understandably thinking of their brother and teammate.
Yeah, it was really good news this morning, as good as you could hope for. So now the question is, what happens with the football side of this? The Bills had a walkthrough yesterday. They are set to practice today. Bill Belichick spoke with the media, Greg, today. The Patriots will also speak to the media today. I thought Bill was good regarding the Hamlin situation. He said that he texted Sean McDermott. He did not go into detail what that conversation was, but he did say that he reached out to Coach McDermott to kind of share his thoughts about the situation. Just your thoughts here on trying to transition back. If we have no word that the game is at 1 p.m. for now, right? So it's Sunday at 1 for now. From what you hear from the NFL, it doesn't sound like they've totally ruled out the idea of maybe kicking this game back, postponing it a day or two. But for right now, just your thoughts about the transition. I don't know how you want to break it down, if you want to go Bills, Patriots, and then kind of NFL, but the transition for especially the Bills to get back to football after what happened on Monday night.
Yeah, I thought Bill Belichick was really good today, as I expected him to be. I figured he would, talk to people and draw on some of his own first-person experiences, which he did talk about an incident where he was on the field where a player was paralyzed, and he has spoken to other coaches. He relied on Troy Brown and Gerard Mayo. Two of his former players on staff, because Bill's like, I haven't played at this level. I don't know what it takes, and I figured he would do all this stuff, like have Troy Brown, probably Gerard Mayo, Slater, McCourty, those guys sort of set the tone. But I think it's when it comes to these guys, and I know it's going to sound odd to just normal lay people who aren't involved with the NFL, professional football, to the level that we are. But, getting back on the practice field, back into your routine and focused on that, on an opponent, on an upcoming game plan. And this goes for the Bills as well. It brings a sense of normalcy. These guys are, they're unbelievable creatures of habit. I mean, every week is basically the same timing. They don't like it when they have, say, a Thursday night game or a Monday night game or what have you, and things get off. And it's like I said, it's going to sound a little cold and a little strange, but the Bills, they walked through yesterday. They're practicing as we speak right now. That's going to help them and help them move forward. And while all the thoughts are on Damar Hamlin, they are going to need to move forward because the NFL season is going to continue here very shortly. They talked to Damar's dad via Zoom. I'm sure there were some sentiments about, going forward and, and playing for Damar, which I'm sure he would want. He didn't work as hard as he did to get where he did and where this team did to all of a sudden, say, okay, well, football's not important. And, it's not as important as Damar's health, but it is important to these guys. It's what they do and why they do these things. So I'll be interested to see what happens with Bills Patriots. Sunday at 1 still seems a little soon to me. Maybe the evening. Monday you run into the national championship game, so they would have to play that game at 4 or 5 p.m. if they pushed it then, which I think they would need to make a decision probably by tonight on whether they're going to do that. I assume the NFL is taking a lot of cues from the Bills. So them coming off the practice field today, seeing where they are, how they handle the media today, because I think they will meet with the media, all that will factor into the decision. But football will be played in a weird way. It'll bring people a lot of comfort and not closure, because Damar's going to be battling this for a long time, but I think it will help people move in the right direction.
Yeah, I think, look, we've all had certain ordeals, and I don't know how deep of a traumatic situation that, certain people, individuals listening to this podcast have been in and gone to work and kind of gotten through it by finding that routine. I can just say, I'm a very routine oriented person. I'm OCD, and I find comfort in following my routine day to day. And it kind of drops my anxiety. Again, this is a very difficult situation, what they saw on Monday night. I do think the news this morning does set at least some comfort level for those teammates and the people that know Damar, that, again, it was really good news this morning. So, I think that would lean us towards, hey, we're going to play some football at some point over the next few days, whether it's Sunday or it's Monday or it's Tuesday. I don't know. I agree with you. Sunday at 1:00 still feels like a pretty quick turnaround for the Bills. I do wonder if the NFL is going to kick that back later on Sunday or whatever they got to figure out. It'll be interesting to see. One more thing I did want to mention, because, you talked about how players will compartmentalize and how they'll handle this thing mentally. I found it very telling. Kyle Shanahan spoke with the media this week, and he was asked about how the Niners handled it. And he said that they brought in each player kind of on an individual basis. They did not necessarily talk to the team as one big group. And the most telling thing that he said was that they offered all of the help they can offer, right? And Bill Belichick talked about that this morning, about the idea of, psychiatrists and chaplains and everybody that is within the organization that can help you spiritually and mentally get through something like this. The team's offer to the players. And Shanahan, while saying that, he said, but really most of the help wasn't for the players. Shanahan said most of the help that we gave and offered, it ended up going to the wives. And I thought that was such an interesting, fascinating, and telling comment that, because we immediately, all of us think, you saw what you saw, that's your teammate, you play the game, it's physical, it's violent, it's got to go through your head. Hey, man, that could happen to me at any given moment. And as you said, football players, hockey players, Jake DeBrusk scores 2 goals in the Winter Classic with playing on a fractured fibula, just a freak. Yep. These guys are wound differently. And I just thought it was incredibly revealing when Shanahan said it wasn't necessarily the players that needed most of the help. It was the wives, the women that care for these men, the women that have to watch these men put their bodies on the line week in and week out. That was just a kind of chilling, somber note of like, yeah, man, like we say it all the time, but sometimes we overlook it. Like these guys do have families. They have wives, they have girlfriends, they have kids, and the emotional toll on the women that are, in these relationships that have to worry about, their man going through what Damar Hamlin went through. I just thought that was a very telling and fascinating comment from Kyle Shanahan this week. When Nick, we look at the game,
one thing on that, I was on NBC Sports Boston like immediately after this happened. It was pre-planned. I was coming in. But we ended up talking about obviously about what was going on with Hamlin and the game for a full hour on NBC Sports Boston. And one of the first things I said was, this is going to lead to a lot of uncomfortable and important discussions in NFL homes right now, as we're going on. And that's what I meant. It's one thing for these players. It's another thing for these families. And over my 20-year career covering the NFL, I'm constantly amazed, impressed by what these significant others go through, whether it's coaches' wives or players' wives, during the season. And a lot of these women are just basically left on their own. They're almost like Army spouses. And I think this incident probably brought that home even more, that, when their husband goes off to work, there's a chance they might not come back. I think this, we often forget about it, but I think this brought it home for a lot of people, especially probably some of the younger wives who it's been some time since they've likely had to deal with this type of serious episode. And, it's tough. And it does not surprise me to hear Shanahan say that.
All right. So as far as the Patriots go at practice today, Jonnu Smith, Marcus Jones both returned from their concussion issues. So that is good news. Jonnu and Marcus on the field. More Marcus Jones than Jonnu, honestly, because as we've talked about, Jonnu has not played as big a role as we thought he would and hoped that he could. But Marcus Jones has been gigantic in all three phases, as Belichick would say. Especially over the past month and a half. So that's good. Both those guys back on the field. But before we get into the game, Greg, and look at the Bills and Patriots matchup, just kind of your quick look and synopsis of the AFC seeding situation and solutions. Today, Mike Florio said that he expects the NFL to make an announcement that the Bengals-Bills game from Monday night will be ruled a no contest. Just kind of not getting too deep into the weeds, but what do you think this looks like as the NFL tries to put together? I saw some of your tweets from NFL.com yesterday where you had the standings and all of a sudden the Patriots and the Bills had a tie. Just what's going on now in the NFL?
I don't know. And Nick, I wish I could offer any sort of insight. Florio goes back and forth by the minute. Saying like at first he thinks it's going to go by winning percentage, and then they might split the bye to they might add an eighth seed. What's going on? My biggest thing going into this week is while certainly Hamlin's health is first and foremost. Look, the NFL is going to be played. A Super Bowl champion is going to be crowned at some point, and teams have been battling or have been working for months to get to this point in the season. And maybe I'm naive, but I'm all about as much competitive integrity as possible. If they come out and say the Bengals-Bills is a no contest, that's fine. I just don't want them to announce any sort of decision on how they're going to do things. Because it affects everything. It affects, if they come out and say it's a no contest, we're going strictly by winning percentage. If the Chiefs beat the Raiders on Saturday, the Bills can't get the number one seed in that case. And so now all of a sudden the Patriots don't have to, the Bills could, play their backups or sit Josh Allen. Is that fair to the Dolphins, the Steelers, and whoever else? I don't think so. Why should the Patriots have an advantage where, the best team in their division, they only really need to play once, where, they're basically given a victory in the other side. The Jets and the Dolphins had to play them twice at full strength. The Jets beat them once, I think. Dolphins beat them once. Why should the Patriots be given a leg up? At the end of the day, maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm naive. People don't understand it. Felger didn't understand it. Say all the teams win this weekend. In my mind, by winning percentage, yes, the Chiefs are the number one seed. But, if that game's declared a no contest, they're in the Chiefs and the Bills would be in a virtual tie. They'd just be the one game they didn't play that would give the Chiefs advantage. And in that case, we know the Bills beat the Chiefs this season at Kansas City. To me, I don't know, maybe I'm an idiot, but to me, it seems pretty simple all right, the seeding all remains the same how it worked out. But in terms of the top seed, I'm Roger Goodell. I'm intervening and saying the Bills are the number one seed. Those two teams were basically closely aligned, almost in a virtual tie. I'm giving it to the Bills because they won on the field in Kansas City this year, and they earned that right over Buffalo, over Kansas City. So, maybe I'm crazy, but I just don't like any scenario where the Bills are basically penalized for what happened on Monday night. I just don't agree with that at all. Maybe the Bills, and I've heard this, people are going to think the Bills don't care. and they'll be like, things are more important. We'll beat anybody, any place. That's great and all, but and I guess they should take the Bills' cue on this. But I still think, there's a common sense way through this, and I don't think adding another playoff team at this rate, where the Titans just sat everybody, knowing like it was a 1 game and in situation. Yeah. Now it's not. I mean that doesn't make any sense either.
I agree with you. Before we get to Bills, Patriots, let's talk about Athletic Greens.
I started taking AG1 because I wanted to make sure I was getting all the vitamins and nutritional supplements I needed in one place. Now I've been on it for 6 months, and I love it. It doesn't taste like it's super healthy. It's kind of a mild tropical taste, a little minty, and I actually look forward to it each morning. So what is this stuff? With 1 delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source ingredients, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, aging, all the things you're looking for. I take it first thing in the morning. It's now part of my routine, and I'd be lost without it. I love how it contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, while still tasting good. And it does. I'm telling you, it does. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills, supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Bedard. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Bedard to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
All right, Greg, from a strictly football standpoint, how do you think the Bills will approach this game, given some of the backdrop and context you just gave? How do they kind of approach this, guys they're playing, how much they play them, et cetera?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to, do they know, what we just talked about? Do they know what is really at stake for them if they win this game or lose this game? Do they know that ahead going into the game? Let's just say the NFL, which I have a hard time seeing, but let's just say they don't announce anything. They say, we're not going to resume Bills-Bengals. We're going to play out this weekend, and then we're going to figure things out. And also the other part of the coin is the Bills wouldn't know whether they have a bye or not. How much do they want to sit people? Because if they do have a bye, they only played a quarter against the Bengals. If they sit Josh Allen against the Patriots, he's sitting out a game. Then they have a bye week. That's almost 3 full weeks of not playing football. Yeah. I don't think anybody really wants that. And I was trying to look back. I looked back to last year, but it looked like, there was a bunch of seedings. I think the Bills ended up being the 3 seed or the 2 seed in the AFC last year. I know Josh Allen played the whole game last year. To me, I think if I'm Sean McDermott, what all my team went through, and there's also they're playing at home. There's going to be a lot of thought. It's going to be very emotional. Damar Hamlin, the Bills will probably say, we want to go out there and play for Damar, and plus we need to get our work in. I think Josh Allen and the starters are at least playing a half in this game, even if there's nothing at stake. Part of me thinks that plays into how the Patriots now play the Bills, which is we're just going to hang back and we don't want to give up any big plays, and we want, to keep it as low scoring as possible and hope that we score a touchdown or 2 and get a return touchdown, and that's how we win this game against a team that we know we're clearly overmatched by physically. But I think, I think Sean McDermott plays it straight out, at least for a half, and then sort of assesses the situation as it goes on. And I'm not sure what to make of that as far as the Patriots are concerned.
Yeah, what an incredible challenge. A difficult challenge for the Bills. I mean, when you really look at this from 30,000 feet, what they just went through Monday night, what they've gone through all week, as we talked about earlier, these conversations with family members and wives and significant others and kids and that part of it, right? And then you're 3-4 days away from playing a football game. and you don't really have any clarity as to how this game is going to affect your postseason. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's and you're coming off of a game, as you just mentioned, Greg, that you played like one quarter of football. I mean, this is such a very difficult set of circumstances for the Bills going into the final week of the regular season. Man, I don't know how Sean McDermott's going to do it, but I will tell you, if this team is able to make this run, I think that says an awful lot about Sean McDermott as a leader of men and his ability to get these guys back together and to deal with all of these, mitigating circumstances as far as what their seed is going to be. I mean, like we talked about, if the Chiefs somehow end up being the 1 seed and the Bills don't get the bye, they don't get home field throughout because they end up with a no contest after they beat the Chiefs this year, just to mentally deal with that and be able to say, all right, screw it, let's just focus on the task at hand. I mean, this really is unprecedented, I think, what the Bills are going through right now on so many different levels. And it'll be interesting. Now, as far as the Patriots, look, we broke down this matchup going back a few weeks ago. Everybody knows what the Bills have to offer. Josh Allen is difficult with his ability to extend plays, his mobility. Obviously, Patriots' inability to slow down running quarterbacks, dual threat quarterbacks has been documented a million times. We have all of the injury issues. My overall thought, honestly, going into this game, Greg, is like, I'm going to look at this optimistically. Last week I said, the best thing, and I still feel this way, the best thing for the Patriots in the long term was to lose out, try to get a top 10 pick and kind of reset in the offseason. Well, they won last week. So now you're sitting at 8-8. You might as well go out and try to win this damn football game on Sunday. The difference between winning and losing for the pick is not going to be, astronomical. You might be able to gain a couple of spots, but now you look at this and say, hey, they got a chance. This team has their own destiny in their hands, and that's cliche, but it's true. And it'd be nice to see these guys go out there and play a good football team and play a good football game against that team and give themselves a chance to get to the postseason. Even I'm not telling you that they're a good team. Greg and I have talked about it. I'm just going to try to stay away from all the negativity because it is what it is. We know what this football team is by week 18. So I'm going to kind of look at this and say, who cares? They've got nothing to lose. If you lose by 20, it's, hey, they are who we thought they were, right? The old Green comment in the post game. If they come up with a win, holy crap, they beat the Bills, they get to the playoffs. Let's see what's some maybe something fluky happens and they can win a playoff game. That's kind of how I'm looking at it now. It's like, it is what it is. We know what this team is. We know the challenges they've had. We know the mistakes they've made on and off the field. But at the end of the day, they are 8-8. They have a chance to get to the playoffs. And let's see if these guys can kind of, sack up and have a really good game whenever this thing gets played.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with you. I mean, even though I said, I think it was on last week's pod where I'm like, this season can't end fast enough. I'm sick of watching this team. I mean, that's my own personal opinion as far as watching the offense. And, we all know this team isn't winning the Super Bowl. I'm more looking forward to how the Patriots recover from this season, but that doesn't mean that's no comment directly on the games and what they're doing. I think there's always value in competing, and especially when they have younger guys on this team. They have a decent, for once, for the first time in a long time, they have a decent layer of young players on this team, including, it's promising to hear Marcus Jones is back, and guys like Christian Barmore, and getting Mac Jones into this is a playoff situation in any sport, in any circumstance. I am all for putting players in pressure situation, do or die. You got to win, playoffs or bust, especially against a good opponent, because you never know how that might shape a player going forward. So absolutely, I think that this is valuable for the Patriots. And in fact, my big sort of takeaway going into this game is, and it's similar to last week, that we talked about going into that game against the Dolphins, and some of it played out, some of it didn't. But, just let it all hang out. Like, what do you have to lose? Like, I don't want to see another game against Buffalo where Bills just playing not to get blown out. And I think remember the last time they played the Bills, that was our quick game effing sucks. Let's throw the ball, that sort of thing, where, the Patriots are down 17-7 and they punt on 4th and 6 from their own 47-yard line with 12 minutes left, down 3 scores. And, they're down 17-7 in the first half, and they're still going with little screens here and there. And, because they're afraid that, they might get sacked or might get a turnover. Enough of that bull crap. This is a team in your division. You have some good players on this team. I think Mac Jones has made progress in the last about month of the season, and the passing offense. Is it perfect? No. Does their running game stink? And Nick, while I'm thinking of it, one of the things from watching the film a little bit more closely the past couple of days, I'm worried about Ramondre Stevenson as far as dead legs. I have him. It's now 4 consecutive weeks where I have him at a rating of either 0 or negative. And he only had his lowest rating before this season was 1-0 rating for me. Everything else was positive. So you worry about, but Damian Harris is back, maybe more of the load. But just the big thing is just freaking go for it. See, it's about next year anyways. See what these guys are capable of. Maybe put Marcus Jones on offense a little bit more. Give Mac Jones a little bit more to do. Get Kendrick Bourne out there more. Tyquan Thornton obviously plays all the time now, even though I don't think he really needs to. But, just let it all hang out and let these guys, they battled for now. This is going to be the 17th game. They've been at this for a long time. Let the players play and let them determine the game. Yeah. And, if they go down swinging, they go down swinging. But at least you tried, and at least you're seeing possibly what's inside some of these guys going forward.
Yeah, it's you brought up Stevenson quickly. I tweeted that last Sunday during the game at Nick C Radio, by the way, on Twitter at Nick C Radio. I tweeted the idea of Stevenson wasn't really a huge part of the game plan last weekend. He didn't get a ton of snaps. We saw Harris in the game a decent amount, and I questioned that on Twitter, and I'll actually credit Cam and Taunton. Cam, I'm giving you some love here, buddy. So embrace it for this 5 seconds. But Cam actually heard the broadcast team. I missed this, but the broadcast team mentioned that during their conversations with Stevenson in preparation for this game, Stevenson admitted that he was gassed, that he was feeling fatigue.
He said that? So, really? Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so if Stevenson is telling the broadcast crew he's feeling fatigued, then he's dead ass tired. He's done, because players don't usually admit that publicly. And if he said that, maybe he was hoping they'd keep it confidential. But I would not be surprised, as you said, the legs are pretty much dead after all he's done this season for them. We were going to talk about Duggar. We'll save that for some other time. Here's what I was going to say. An analogy for the Patriots when you look at their approach against the Bills the last time and going into this weekend. It's like the Patriots are the buttoned up, khaki wearing businessman, cubicle dude who is about to go on a bachelor party. And, the Patriots were all, the last game, they showed up at the bachelor party and they were still all buttoned up with their khakis, and they couldn't really let loose and have fun. This weekend, let it rip. You're going to Vegas with the boys. Let it rip. You've got nothing to lose. You live once here, baby. You got a chance to win this game at Buffalo and finish 9-8 and get into the playoffs. Let it rip. Enjoy yourself. Take some risks. Have some fun. See what you can come up with. And hopefully Belichick coaches that way as well. All right. Obviously, look, I'm 14-2 against the spread. Greg is 13-3. We're in a really good spot no matter what happens in this game. But this is a very difficult game to predict. We don't know when it's going to be played. They're saying 1:00. We're not sure. We have no idea who's going to play for the Bills. We have no idea how the Bills are mentally after what happened this Monday. So I'm telling you right now, this pick doesn't matter. If you go to Greg and I for any kind of help for entertainment purposes or otherwise, I would not take this pick this week from me because I have no idea what to expect. But the line is Bills minus 6.5, Greg.
Yeah, like you said, we don't know how they're going to play this. I think, and I'm sure Sean McDermott is just like, I don't know what to do with my team. And in that cases, normally these guys just fall back on like, what do we always do? Like, let's not ask them to do anything we don't normally ask them to do, because that might impact us. Say, we do get a bye or, whatever. So I think they play this. I think it's going to be extremely emotional, in my opinion. Buffalo and Green Bay are extremely similar as far as NFL cities. I think that they are the closest to their players because they live in proximity to their players. Whereas in Boston, the players live in Rentham and players like that or places like that, and the homes are really spread out. While they're in the community and people see them and they visit them on Halloween, it's different in Buffalo and Green Bay where there's not much else to do and you're sort of, locked in together. And as we've seen, the Bills Mafia, anytime something's going on with one of the players, there's always an outpouring of support. When they come back and they're when they're underneath like 5 feet of snow, Bills fans come to the airport and dig out the players, which just happened a couple weeks ago. And, and also, from living in Green Bay, you see players out all the time. Like you're at the same restaurants. There's just a different connection in those smaller NFL markets. And I think all that's going to play into it's going to be an extremely emotional situation whenever they play this game. I think it's going to help the Bills tremendously. I think McDermott at the end of the day at least says we're going to go out there, at least play the first half. I think they play with their pants on fire for their teammate, feel the love from the stands. I think the Patriots are in a tough situation in this game. So for that reason, I'm going to pick the Bills to win by double digits. I was sort of wait on to find out exactly what's at stake in this game, but I'd say something along the lines of Bills 27, Patriots 17, something like that in this game.
Yeah, I agree with most of what you said. I'll go Bills minus 6.5. The BSJ member question of the day, again, bostonsportsjournal.com, $39.99 on the annual plan. What do we got, Greg, for the question of the day?
So I'm just looking through some of the comments on, I did my breakdown column. Finally, this Hamlin situation has sort of made this a different week. But one of the things it wasn't so much of a question, even though somebody addressed it. I did want to give, and I don't think we did this the other day. I wanted to give a shout out to Cole Strange. I thought that watching this game back a little bit more closely, I thought that this was his best game of the season. Now, did he have Christian Wilkerson opposite him? No. And, so it was a good matchup, but I thought he was really good. He kept getting into situations where he had to one-on-one pass block. Whereas, in most games, David Andrews is going to help him if he doesn't have someone to block. In this game, because Wilkins was over Michael Wenu, who did a really nice job, didn't allow any pressure in this game, Andrews helped him. So Strange was more on his own in this game for the first time, I think, all season. And I thought that Cole Strange did a really nice job, and I've been tough on him. I think I've been very fair with him and just giving you an accurate assessment of where he's been as a rookie. But so in that vein, I also wanted to be fair and point out I thought Cole Strange had a heck of a game on Sunday, and that's good. And hopefully he can finish up with another one this weekend against a tough Bills front. This will be a tougher challenge for him. But if he can do that, now you're saying, okay, that's a tough rookie season, typical rookie season, but that's something to build on for him for next year, and he will be a very important piece of this team going forward.
We'll see what happens. Patriots Bills coming up Sunday, maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday. Who knows? We'll see when this game is played and how it is played. We'll be back at some point early to mid next week to recap Bills Patriots. Until then, be well, be safe, and be healthy. He's Greg. I'm Nick. Of course, brought to you by Athletic Greens.